I'm your host, Ryan McDougal. We are here at the Spare Bedroom Studios. Today we have a special guest, a very good friend of mine, Brandon Biner. He's a rising talent in the MMA scene. From Bedford here, originally from Cape Breton, living in Bedford, Nova Scotia, training hard out of Tower1 Gym, gearing for his second amateur fight on the 21st at FLA 16, happening in Hector Arena in Pictou County. I hope I pronounced that. With a passion for combat sports and a strong drive to succeed, he's here to share his journey, training experiences, and preparing for another big fight in the local MMA scene. Welcome, Brandon. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man.
This is always like these interviews and stuff like that. I'm doing them in different formats, and I'm always learning different things. So if I screw up or anything like that, it doesn't matter. No one's watching anyway.
Likewise. Yeah, likewise, for sure.
So we're just hanging out, having a good conversation. It's always good to catch up with you. As nostalgic purposes, I wore the shirt you gave me like 5
I was thinking that. Yeah.
I was like picking it out, and I was like, oh, I remember when he gave me that shirt. And then I remember we were at the bar, and I thought I was texting a girl, and I was texting your buddy because I was so drunk. And
yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, that like nice dress, blah blah blah. And this guy's behind me giving me dirty looks, and I'm like, what's going on, man?
And then he comes me, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And I'm like, man, he's obviously drunk. Like,
yeah, I was like, is your buddy like, like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny, man. Good.
Yeah. I couldn't remember where the shirt came from, but I remember I was like, man, I'm pretty sure I either gave him that shirt or I picked that shirt out with him, for sure.
Because you were basically like, I outgrown it. You were like, it doesn't fit me.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, it doesn't fit me. You can have it. So that's fine.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to bring you on today was honestly to just catch up and see how like this, because I moved away when you started to get into MMA. And then when I visited, I think 2 Julys ago or something, you brought me to the gym. I got to meet some of the people you were training with. That was so cool. It definitely opened the doors to just a lot of things, even just like my interest in MMA and stuff like that. I've been reaching out. I haven't nailed anything down and where I'm going to start training at, but I think I'm going to start training like some jiu-jitsu and stuff like low level and see where I go with that. But yeah, like definitely an inspiration. And so the first questions I want to get started in was like, what kind of sparked you into that like interest in MMA? Because I know when we worked security and stuff like that, we'd be more of like the gym guys. We go to the gym every day. It was more about putting on that weight, pre-workout, proteins, you know what I mean? So tell us about that transition.
Yeah, man. I tried to go to the gym since I've been like a teenager, and just for whatever reason, it never stuck. And it was just like, want to do something active, obviously, and wanted to have some type of commitment to something. And honestly, man, just couldn't stick with it. And then me and you started obviously training. We had a good time training. It was more of it was almost like a mini podcast while we were training. We were just rushing out, having a good time, laughing, working out, just bullshitting and stuff like that. It was a good time. That kind of kept me going with that a little bit longer than I thought I would have. But yeah, like I just couldn't really find an interest that stuck in it. Something wasn't keeping me going. Honestly, man, then I just stopped going when you moved away and moved on. I stopped going to the gym and stuff, put on a bunch of weight. Things happened in life and stuff, wasn't doing too well. And then what kind of sparked me into MMA and stuff was just a buddy of mine, Pat Carroll, pro MMA fighter, also on the card in Pictou. He works with me with the sheriffs, and he just told me one day, man, I'm coaching a class, come train. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, I'm allowed to curse on this too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, man. But yeah, I'll try not to, but no promises being from Cape Breton. But anyways, he asked me to come train. So I'm coaching a class. Why don't you come train? And I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I have the parts. Like, did a little bit of street fighting and stuff, and anybody can say, oh, I fought this guy or did this or whatever. But then it's like, when it comes down to it, like going into an MMA gym, you're just like, that's a totally different can of worms you're opening. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it, man. And obviously the stereotype that comes with MMA is not an inviting, friendly place. I was a bit hesitant to go, and yeah, he got me there, man, and went and seen that all the guys were getting along and stuff. All the guys were super respectful, and the meatheads were the ones that kind of got kicked out of the gym, and then the good guys who were determined and wanted to train hard and stuff stuck around. And yeah, man, just from him to get me there, it literally instantly gave me the bug.
That's
instantly
really good. And that's interesting too, because it's like, you go with someone and that becomes like your security blanket of, if I have any, what's this guy's deal? Should I be talking to this guy? Should I, like, is this guy an asshole? You can like field those questions beforehand. So you're like, I'm not that insecure because like I can go in and I know like someone's vouching for me and stuff
Exactly.
like that. And
that helps for sure, man.
Yeah. And it's like big shout out to him. Cause like on the other end, say you become one of those meatheads and then they look at him.
That's
like,
just it.
They look at him like, what the fuck you doing, buddy? Right?
Why did you bring this guy in or whatever?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the dice you have to roll. But I think that no matter what type of personality you are, when you're in this type of sport long enough, I think it cultivates you to be a bit better of a person.
Kind of puts you in a pressure cooker.
It does, man. It does,
Well,
and it's going to break you down.
And you look at it and like we'll get into this later when we talk
Yeah.
about Tower1, but like it's this big idea of everybody's helping each other out. So there's like this intrinsic value of, if I'm not shouting out this guy and this guy's shouting out me on his Instagram, like now I feel like an asshole because everybody's supporting each other. So I'm going to be like doing what I can to make sure that I'm like providing the same amount of contributing things as I am like receiving. So but that kind of keeps you there as well because it becomes that family aspect. So you started training, and I would say, would you consider yourself like, how long have you trained before you actually did or considered, okay, I want to fight on a card?
Man, I think I trained for 2 years, pretty consistent and pretty straight. And when consistent, minimum 5 days a week, I was training for 2 years straight, pretty much. Or I guess 4 years for the first like year, and then the second year was like ramped up to 6 days a week once I went to Tower1. When Gavin started Tower1, yeah, started at Titans. Patty was the guy that brought me to Titans, and then Gav eventually wanted to start his own gym and stuff, and yeah, he started up Tower, and then we started training 6 days a week. Things got super professional. Schedules got much better. Training got insane, like so much better, and just so much more personal, man. It was like when it first started, it was just a little team of, I think, probably 8 of us or 12 of us or something like that. It wasn't many guys.
Now it's blowing
and
up.
Now it's blown up, man. Yeah, the gym. And the numbers still, too. It's the same 8 to 12 guys with a couple of new guys mixed in that seem like, just because they seem like family. So it seems like they've been there from the jump. You know, just because we're so close and stuff. But yeah, really the same core people, man. And then there's some new people and stuff that are showing up and, you know, turn into family and whatnot. But
I'm sure there's kind of some of those things where you meet the meatheads and you have those experiences. It's just like when you look at work where it's, oh, I'm around this environment and a lot of people are going to follow the rules, but some people aren't. And you just got to be like, listen, buddy, this isn't going to work out. You know,
yeah.
Or
yeah.
Like you can keep up the attitude, but it's not going to work out in your favor, man. Like you're not going to get your way, right? Or like, you know.
You know what, man? It's weird. I don't know. It just seems like we don't get a whole lot of those people at the gym anyways. And I think Gav does a really good job at just being able to keep good people around and stuff. And we're all blessed, man. I think that nobody really wants to. I think those guys, and there may not even be many of those guys, you know, around. I don't want to put labels on anybody or anything like that. But just because we're all so family oriented and stuff and so close, man, it just seems to keep people like that away. Or maybe, yeah, Gav's just really good at governing, no pun, but governing that stuff too. It's hard to say, man. But yeah, we're blessed for sure to have a team like that and a community like that for sure.
And that's good. And you have a strong anchor as well. You have a super strong
Big time
anchor that you can obviously tell that he's embodying those leadership roles. I always, even at work and with working out or whatever it is, even when I coached, it was like you cannot expect someone to do something that you're not going to do yourself. So
exactly, man.
If I'm not at the head of the line, then like, how can I expect anybody to follow my mantras or what I'm saying? And
no, that's right, man.
You can obviously start through like the limited interaction that I had, but as well as just watching the consistent stories and social media and support, right? And I think that's a huge part that kind of keeps people there. Like you have a huge fashion of someone that's able to give you like sound advice. Do you say like with your kind of, I don't want to say childhood, but say like you got in a lot of like street fights or whatever it is. Do you think that was one of those things too, where you were like, I think I know I can. Some people are confident, and even with your experience with work, was it easier for you to go into a gym setting because you were a little bit more like okay with that sense of like conflict? Because some people don't like to be touched.
Well, that's a good point, man. And it's just like I said before, I've been in a couple of street fights or whatever, or even the type of job that we do. It's just you would think it would make it easier just to get into MMA, but it's actually it's actually contrary, man. It's like I have or like a tough guy, for example. I'm not even saying that I'm a tough guy or anything like that, but because by no means am I. There's guys way tougher than me and that I'll ever be. But for example, a tough guy would have an image to hold, like, oh, tough street fights, this and that, whatever. I'm going to go into a gym that's going to get exposed, where I think it's easier for the person that was just humble off the jump, or just like a good person, nice person, whatever you want to call it. Much easier to go into a gym without that image to uphold or anything like that. And with an image like that, you go into a gym, you're definitely going to get humbled for sure. You're definitely going to get some stuff thrown your way if you go in with that type of. So yeah, it was tougher for me, man. I was like, you know what? I feel like I've been in street fight stuff. I'm tough, but it's deep down, I know who I am. It's just going to a gym like that I was hesitant for that because I'm not as tough as these guys, for sure. So it held me back a bit, man. It didn't make it easier to go in there, right?
And it's really interesting that you say that, because you say, oh, there could be a dude that could bang dudes out in the bar and whatever, but you say the difference between formal training and just like putting your head down and throwing hands.
Yeah, it's insane.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like how quick you just get taken advantage of, right?
Yeah.
I never even thought about it that way, where you consider the idea of even you look at the training and use of force, and then you look at an MMA or a BJJ or whatever it is that training that you initially got, like almost influencing it in a way where you're like, my muscle memory or whatever it is, right, that you have to work your way out of. But I think you're knowledgeable enough where you're able to like separate like the two different things. Like,
for sure, you're going to separate it. And anyone that does the type of training that we've been exposed to at work, you could have 100 years of that stuff. And someone who is even a low level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, like, is going to just make someone look silly.
Oh yeah. And I have many friends at work who are like, I have one guy, he's going to be coming on the podcast later this month, Craig Malin. And like, I kid you not, during training, like some of the instructors were like, oh, you have no idea who this guy is. Like, he's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He has like, I don't want to misrepresent him because I don't know what he has in like any other martial arts, but he's cornered Tanner Bozer. Like, he's been in his training camp. Like, he's traveled all over the U.S. for MMA and UFC. Like, huge influence where like people that we revered were like, no, that guy's the shit. And you're like, oh fuck. Kind of what you're getting with that is like, so he gets confronted at work. And he just goes, "Are you sure?"
Yeah,
it's like,
for
it doesn't
sure,
matter.
man.
Like, it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah,
because he just knows. Yeah, it's probably not the best in your best interest.
Yeah,
like, I'll do it if I have to, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny in that sense too, of the level of, not the level of, I guess, like the level of confidence that you would have, and it's not like in a cocky side of things. It's just, hey,
not at all.
Very like able to do the skill that I trained, and if I have to, I'll make sure.
And honestly, man, I think for me at least, it's just like I train so much, I don't have any energy to put elsewhere.
Oh,
like, I don't want any trouble. I have no.
With guys, Monday to Friday, like Monday to Saturday, I'm good. Man.
Yeah, man.
That's true too. Where you're just like, yo, I'm beat, man.
Can I just sit down and not even think, please?
Yeah. So let's just get into Tower 1. So you started at Titans, went to Tower 1. I really enjoyed Tower 1. And I'm sure there's been plenty of improvements since I left. Like, I saw that they got like a new mats and stuff like that.
Good eye, man. Yeah.
When did you find out that was like the right place for you? Did it take a couple sessions, or did you get there and you were like, this is...
Man, I'll tell you, I didn't even get into the gym. We left the parking lot of Titans with the guys, and I knew right then and there. It was mainly with Patty at the time. I didn't really know everybody else too well. It was mainly with Patty, and he was just like, he encouraged me to help out and stuff. And honestly, I would follow that guy anywhere, man. Like, he's just been so helpful to me, and he's just been my right-hand man, I guess, in the MMA, along with Gav too. But yeah, initially didn't question it one bit, man. And I've been blessed to be, or had the opportunity to go to Tower 1. And then I just really, I've been so blessed with the team and stuff. I've never thought of training anywhere else, never even trained really anywhere else other than with the guys traveling, training other gyms and stuff. So There was never one time that I think, is this the gym or this isn't the gym? It was just like right off the jump. This is 10 toes in.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I had a question in my head, but I'm trying to think of how to deliver it.
Yeah.
So I'll just go into my once I figure it out, I'm gonna fucking boom.
Just fire it, man. Just fire it.
My next question is, training with such high caliber fighters like Gavin Tucker, Patrick Arrow. Who's the other guy? He just fought or he's currently fighting.
Abdelaziz?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you have Rent. It starts with an R, I believe. Sam?
Sam Rhino.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam. Yeah.
So he just got to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Quick finish, man. Quick finish. He's a huge young prospect.
Was it a head kick?
Not the guy with a head kick, man. He's like a walking highlight reel. That guy steps into the ring. It's just like highlight after highlight after highlight. It's insane.
I was like, man, this white guy got a little bit of acne, but this guy's a fucking killer, man. Like, this guy's a killer, but this guy friggin' takes heads off.
No, you should see him now, man. He's put some size on and stuff and training hard, and yeah, he's definitely nothing to mess with, man. He's another guy too. Started with Titans. He was just a young kid, man. Still a weapon. And just kind of tagged alongside of him and learned from him and stuff. But yeah, man, he's a walking highlight reel. It's actually insane. Like the things that he's capable of doing right now, and he's only young. It's
imagine get a couple more.
Blows my mind, man.
And
yeah, prospect for sure.
With those interactions with those guys, young and old, how has that adjusted your approach? Has it molded you into a way of you might get humbled by the older guys, but you almost might see some sense of pride or, man, I got to really set the tone or be a representation or a role model, right? So like how has working, and it's because they're all succeeding. It's not like these guys are coming out of losing fights. It's, I have to maintain like where I am on the grid because like I'm going to be the schlump that everybody, so how does that how does those interactions like help your approach with fighting?
I guess to start with the old and young, it's just like the old guys can slump me in the gym, and the young guys slump me in the gym. Sam's a slumper, man. You put anybody in front of him, and it's gonna be a tough match and he's a young guy. Then you put Pat or Gavin in front of you, and it's gonna be a bad day, man, a real bad day. But I think your second question there was I don't know, what was the second question there?
How does it change your approach to like fighting and training?
And where you see everyone succeed in the gym and stuff, but you don't want to be that guy not to succeed or whatever the case may be. But Gav just puts it in a way that you do the work, train hard, you do the things that you're supposed to do, and you don't do the things that you know in your head that you're not supposed to do. You keep that train rolling, and no matter the outcome, man, good things will come. So I just try to trust that process. And like I said on another podcast I was on, he says jump. He says jump, man. I say how high, and it just seems to work, man. The guy's super intelligent, and his skills, both coaching, fighting, are world class. So you'd be crazy not to follow anything that he says.
Even in these situations, you have to be like a sponge for as long as you can.
And he says things, man. I feel like I learned so much from him, and I even start to say things like him, but like he says, like nothing lasts forever. So I try to keep that in my mind as much as I can and just try to learn and take in everything and enjoy everything as much as I can.
Because he's what, 38? 38.
I don't know, man. I think I don't know how old Gav is. He's in his mid 30s for sure, but the guy feels like he's 25. Yeah. Like man. The strongest 25-year-old I've ever trained with. He's stronger than me, tougher than me. Way like more technical, like every aspect of his game is better. But yeah, he feels like he's 25, man.
And then with that, you have such of a strong, like tight knit community and like this family atmosphere. How has this changed life outside of the gym? Because I'm sure that there's been a lot of lifestyle changes that you've done just in being prepared to fight and train 6 days a week, like whether it's diets or how you sleep or sobriety or whatever it is. So walk us through that as well, of like the dynamics of not only what you have to sacrifice while you're training, but also the sacrifice of like relationships that time commitment, stuff like that?
That's a great question, man. I never thought about it in, I guess, the negative aspect too much, but like you said, sacrificing relationships and time for family and stuff like that. I don't really, that thing doesn't really stay in my mind a whole lot. It's the good things that I'm sacrificing the time for, like getting better and building a relationship with the boys, seeing the guys at the gym, the competition. And it does, man. It helps me sleep. It helps my mental health for sure. I feel like if I didn't have it, like I wouldn't be I wouldn't be as mentally strong. But yeah, I don't really, I guess, dwell on the things that it's negative to. Sure, I don't get to see my family that much because I'm training 6 days a week. I don't really have much for extracurricular activities. I leave work, go to the gym, so you don't really get the time to get off work and go to the beach, or get off work and go have a beer, or get off work and go for supper, or to this concert, or whatever the case may be. Like I'm getting off work and going to train. And honestly, man, I'm happier just getting off work and going to train than I think any of that stuff would make me.
Because that's all that shit fizzles away, right? That shit's just like bubbles, dude. You
yeah,
get the experience, and then it's okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, it disappears. Yeah,
and it's good in that sense. And to a degree, say it's financially or vacationing or getting these different types. It's like delayed gratifications. It's let me check this box, let me get as much of this experience out if I can. And when I'm 40, 50, and I can only train for 3 days a week, then that's the opportunity to do the other shit, right? Like that kind of seems like the mindset of, yo, this is where you're at, and this is providing you an immense amount of satisfaction. So it's like wherever you see these negative things, that's nowhere near the amount of like positives that it's benefiting.
No, for sure, man. But yeah, and I think that it's not even the positive things or the negative. It's really hard to explain. But even if you want to train 3 days a week, and say it's jiu-jitsu, like you, for example, you don't train yet, you haven't made that jump, but say you want to train 3 days a week. I think that even just, you don't have to jump in it right away, do 6 days a week, go fight, go compete, go do all this stuff, man. Leisurely, you can do it and still get the same benefits. Like it can improve mental health. It can improve the way you want to eat, the way you want to look after yourself, the way you look at yourself and stuff. Too, a big thing for me too, it changed the way I looked at myself. Even though you're going to the gym, getting beat up, and getting humbled and stuff, it does change the way you look at yourself in a positive way. And I still, man, you know what? I encourage you. I still want you to go train. I want you to check something out. I want you to try it out, man. I think you'd love it. And I think the people that you would meet in a setting like that, you'd have on the podcast, you're still able to do the things that you love. But it opens up just a little bit it just adds an extra page in the book, I guess. That would be good.
The thing is, a good thing to explain to the audience is like the idea of fighting on a card is always optional. Like you can just train. You know what I mean? So it's like the idea of nobody's expecting you to go be a superstar in the MMA. Like you can just go and train and take a judo class and take a BJJ class and go just to an MMA course. Like it's the same as boxing, where it's like nobody's expecting you to be Canelo Alvarez.
No,
so it's like
exactly.
You can go and feel it out, and you can train for 20 years, get your black belt, whatever it is, and you don't have to do a single competition, and you can still be very respected in the community.
Exactly, man. Like 100%.
And that's a really huge thing that I think combat sports has that's very unique. Where I can play soccer, but if I don't play on Division I, am I really...
Exactly, right. No, that's a good way to put it, man.
But you look at karate, you look at all those things, and I don't have to knock anybody out. But, like, I can go to a course every day, grind it out, show that I can knock people out. And they're like, yeah, oh, what's up?
Yeah.
So,
mind you, I guess there is an element that I've learned too after the first fight is training and fighting. There is differences for sure. Mm-hmm. Like there is definitely differences, other mental hurdles and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I guess to say for certain is that you can do it and get some good benefits from it, and you don't have to fight, you don't have to compete, you don't have to do all this stuff. You can still enjoy other aspects of it that are still beneficial.
And this is a good way to segue into our next what I wanted to discuss, because so you had your first amateur fight, and so someone that has been training for 2 years, or extended amount of time. What were those emotions going into that fight? Was there a lot of, I have to make my gym proud, I have a name on my back, etc., or was it a personal thing? Or was it both?
The way it made me feel was like I definitely wanted to. It seemed like the boys, the team, didn't really care the outcome, man, and they expressed that. They were like, "We don't care what the outcome is. We just train hard and just step in the cage, do your best, man. We know what you're capable of doing, so if you display what you're capable of, no matter the outcome, like we still love you, we're still here for you, and we're happy that you do it, man." But definitely like pressure of wanting to uphold just how successful the gym has been and how successful the guys are being, and you want to stay on the same path them guys are on, the same train that those guys are on, right? Oh, sorry, man, my phone just fell there.
No worries.
But yeah, you want to keep the train going, and you don't want to derail that thing. But at the end of the day, like, it's just to get in there and experience it and really see what it's all about and stuff, and have the team behind you supporting you, and yeah, just seeing it through, man, I think is, especially where all the guys that are on the team know what it's like to get in there, understand the pressures and stuff like that. And sometimes the outcome really isn't something you can control. You can control it, but there is small factors where the things that you can't control. But yeah.
Do you think if you lost, you would do a fight this soon?
If I lost the first one?
Yeah, do you think you would do a second one?
Definitely, man. Yeah,
or do
definitely.
You think there would be any apprehension of, oh fuck, am I ready for this? Or
wouldn't be
line it up.
Line it up. Let's train hard. Let's get
That's
it.
That's a good attitude.
For sure. Yeah.
Because when I did boxing, I got the shit kicked out of me by some newfie that had a 6-foot reach and just dude, this guy just punched my head off, and they threw the towel in second. And then I was like, I was so embarrassed because I was training at Tyson Cave's gym, and it was basically one of those things where he had a bunch of killers, and I just think I let the emotions get a handle of me, and it was just one of those things where the anxiety took over. Maturing, not saying that's anywhere in my scope of what I want to do, but I think the level of maturity would help me with that. I think it was because I was 14, 15 years old, going to this event at some club, and so
Newfoundlanders are tough, man. They're stacking the cards against you right off the get-go, man.
That's right, man. So your next fight, Damien Sentner, is that his name?
My next fight is Trevin Lafford.
Trevin Lafford. I don't know why this came up.
Trevin Lafford, yeah.
Trevin Lafford. So where's he from?
He's from Cape Breton as well.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from the other side of Cape Breton. So the island's the island's 2.5 hours drive across. I don't know what it is in distance, but yeah, he's from one side essentially. I'm from the other side.
Battle of the Island.
Battle of the Island, man. Yep.
Have you interacted with this guy training or not training?
Never, man. No. He fought a guy from our gym, Ty Borden. Ty's super tough dude, man. Really good. Trevin, really tough, really good. And they both went the distance, and Ty beat him split decision. But yeah, that's as much as I know him. I've never ran into him training or anything like that.
Okay, cool. With your fight camp for your first fight and your second fight, do you think there's any improvements or any differences that you've added from your first to your second?
There's definitely improvements, man, for sure. I wouldn't want to share too many details prior to this one, but yeah, definitely on a weekly basis, improvements. If you're, I feel like if you're this deep in it, you'd have to be improving pretty consistently. Dude, so much, man. It's crazy just to see how world class Gab is, and his capabilities of sharing the information and passing stuff on and learning new stuff and putting stuff together. It's just, we literally are so fortunate to have him because we just never stop learning, man. And that's old traditional stuff that never goes away in fighting. He has all that stuff, and then there's these new tricks in his back pocket and things that he can put together, and stuff that I can't even understand to explain, man. He's just so good and so smart at putting stuff together like that. It's one guy's a preschool teacher and then he's a scientist. It's just it's crazy.
And tell me about the FLA platform. How has that been for, like, when has that originated? How does that look?
Man, I don't know when it originated. I would say it was sometime around when COVID started,
Mm-hmm.
whenever that was, 2019.
Oh, fuck me.
Really good production and stuff. I'm sure you can appreciate good production and stuff like that. But
They're
yeah,
awesome, dude. They like.
yeah,
I looked at their past events. I watched your last fight. Okay, FLA 2020. Their first event
2020,
was February 8th, 2020 in Truro. Um,
nice.
Wicked. Yeah, and this is a huge like avenue for the Atlantic provinces because it's like, what else do you have in terms of like
Huge,
a
man.
promotion, right?
Yeah.
That's really good. And some other of the fighters are involved with the FLA promotion as well.
From the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Abdel Aziz. He's pro. He's on a win streak now too. I'm sure you'll see him on the big stage in the UFC or whatever, or one of the big promotions very, very soon. That guy's an absolute weapon, man. Rhino as well, young guy, walking highlight reel. You'll see him up there for sure. He's involved in FLA as well. A lot of people from the gym, man. Half the gym is through FLA. Simon Plummer's fighting. He's from FLA. Like I mentioned, Ty Borden. Just, yeah, tons of guys from the gym, man. Jay Kelly, Pat Carroll. Honestly, man, too many to name. But yeah,
Right.
they're the ones that pop up right away.
Right. And that's wicked because that means like they're picking very good talent and like they're, you know what I mean, and it's a good amount of competition. With that, going into the future of how you want to be as like a fighter, my first question is, what are the stages of going from like amateur to pro? Is that something you know of yet, or?
It's weird, man. There's not really stages, I don't think. Like, I know Gab skipped amateur entirely and just went right into pro, straight pro, man. Yeah. But that's just the type of guy he is. He's not only 10 toes in, 10 fingers in, head, the whole shebang, right? He's just that type of guy. And is able to succeed in anything he wants to. But I'm not sure the process exactly. I would probably do a couple of more amateur, if not one or two. Yeah, and then hopefully to jump pro if the team feels that way. But no real outline yet.
It's probably just like a gauging system of like, same way when you get your
It
belts
is.
with jiu-jitsu or something like that, where it's like you're not really sure of what your coach thinks or whatever it is, but like when you achieve a certain thing, that's when you're ready to take the step. In terms of fight frequency, in terms of how much it would take you to recover and like your personal obligations, how often would you want to fight a year?
Ideally, if everything was stacked the right way and everything healed and recovered the right way and there was no hiccups and stuff, I'd like to fight every at least, I'd say
3 months.
3 months would be ideal. Yeah, 3 months would be ideal, man. Yeah, 4 months maybe would be good too. Like, you don't want to be enough to be active where you don't feel like you're getting any ring rust or whatever they want to call it, but
Like
maybe not too active where exactly it's a comeback fight or you want to improve in the in-between stages, right? You don't want to be the same fighter.
Right. It needs
Exactly,
to be like
man.
a good pace that you're not doing it too much.
Yeah.
Where it's okay, like this guy's gonna end up getting knocked out, and then it's not so fast.
And listen, I'll sorry to cut you off, but all those things, I'm just speaking from experience. Like, I don't want to act like I know what I'm saying, or there might be better ways of stuff and things like that. So I'm just trying to generalize things as best as I can. I'm fresh in this game, man. I'm only 2.5 years in this game. I'm by no means am I even qualified, I guess, to talk about this stuff, but I'm just trying to generalize my understanding as best I can and as respectfully as I can. And I'm sure that there's...
It's funny you put that because this is in this rest of the thing, I put in speculation. So it's kind of speculation from both of us in terms of how much...
Yeah, dude, for sure, man.
So it's...
Just share an interest in trying to...
Exactly. It's just what we think in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Next thing. Have you ever thought about doing like the grappling? Because these grappling competitions are now, you look at the Craig Jones Invitational, and that kind of just exploded like
It
the
blew up, man.
yeah.
It blew up, man.
What do you look at that, and do you ever see yourself reaching a fork in the road where you're like, okay, I'm at this level where, say, I'm fighting professional, but I have the opportunity to do MMA events or grappling events or these tag and tap or whatever, card-jitsu or whatever the fuck it is. Is it a level of like how much money you're getting, or is it really like your definite interest in like the combat sports and like...
Man, I think that it's so weird to say, but I think that whatever route the boys or the team took, if they wanted to go do volleyball, I would probably follow them guys to volleyball. Or if those guys wanted to do whatever, painting, man, I'd probably follow. Like, it's just, I'm really just along the ride with the boys, man. It's weird. I share such a good friendship with those guys that no matter what they did, I think I would follow them. But no, for sure, I'd be open to do jiu-jitsu competitions or boxing stuff as well, or any type of different kickboxing, Muay Thai competitions and things. I'd like to do all that stuff, but I think the sole goal for that would be to level up strictly for MMA. That's the goal right now, and it all pulls into just being leveling up that MMA game, I think. But yeah, if the guys...
Yeah, no, sorry. It's funny that you say that Conor McGregor mentions this when he went and boxed Floyd Mayweather and this and that. He said, like, they're side gigs. They're side fares. Like, I go do this, but it's ultimately just to keep myself fresh for the main ticket. Like, it's not, right. I'm not doing these as I need the money or whatever it is, but this would be a good refresher in Muay Thai or grappling, that it's like strictly grappling, right? So nonetheless, like, never it has to be like that's your full-time gig, but it is interesting that those are coming out, and that's just an opportunity that you have in the future, and it's always going to get bigger. What do you see in terms of like the FLA platform? Do you think they're going to start like moving into, say, Montreal? Do you think this is going to expand in a way where you might see FLA on television soon?
It'd be cool to see them jump into Fight Pass or something like that, but I honestly don't know any. Yeah, man, I don't know any objectives they have or goals they have. I'm really not sure. I'd like to see them move around a bit more. I know that they're trying to move around Atlantic Canada. They're definitely trying to move around all the Maritimes. But yeah, I'm sure it's a goal of theirs. I'm sure everybody wants to expand and stuff like that and grow and get bigger and things of that nature. Yeah.
Let's talk about, this is like my wrapping up right now. So what would be your final sending off, especially amateur fighters that are growing up in like smaller regions and coming out of those smaller regions and still able to stay driven? Is there any kind of, and this honestly could be for anybody, but is there a certain type of message you want to send given your experience through this? And like, how would you like to encapsulate your kind of overall experience and share that with someone else?
Well, I guess a generalized way to put it for me would be that no matter what type of personality you think you have, or no matter what type of person you think you are, or what you think that you're supposed to do, I think that some form of training, whether it's MMA training or jiu-jitsu training, and I can say that from just the experiences I have, is that anybody and everybody can do it. And all of my buddies, like you and many other buddies at work that still haven't done it, and other family, and even my little brothers, man, I encourage all these people to do it. And they're all different personalities. They're all capable in different ways. But I think that everyone should give it a try, man, just for the dedicate, something to be dedicated to, something to look forward to, something to share interests in. And you don't have to be A personality or B personality or A interest and B interested. Everyone should give it a crack. And I still think, man, every time we talk, I'm gonna bring it to you, and I'm gonna say, have you started? I want you to start. Give it a shot. And if you don't like it, man, you can, like you said, you don't like it, you can quit or try something else. But it doesn't hurt to give it a crack. And no matter what the personality is, everyone's capable of doing it, and are likely going to enjoy it and stick to it. It's crazy how fast jiu-jitsu is growing everywhere.
I think it's the reason it's so big right now is people just want to be like confident in their personal space, and you know what I mean? Given where the world's at, and this isn't like a conspiracy or whatever it is, but it's just like people just want to feel like, hey, if I go somewhere, like, I'm going to be able to take care of my family. I really just want to, like, thank you for coming out, Brandon. I've definitely learned a lot. I think this is going to be very good information for especially the people that have been following us from, like, the MMA. Like, I've had Damian McGeary on and David McLeod, who's a black belt in judo and traveled in Thailand and competed there. I'm having Craig Malin on in the future. So we have been rotating a lot of guests that have been in, like, the MMA fighting community. It's a really huge interest of mine, and I hope I'm sharing the same interest with the viewers and stuff, whether that's everybody or whatever. But, like, I genuinely enjoy having these type of conversations because it's like, I love watching UFC. I can't wait for this next event. Like, I'm watching all the fighters, like, you know what I mean? So it gives me, like, extreme amount of kind of, not like fulfillment, but it's like, I get a lot of, like, satisfaction watching people get punched in the face. Thank you so much for coming out, Brandon, and hope we'll be talking to you in the future, and we're going to be figuring out some kind of way that we can help you out with this next fight, and we're definitely going to be watching it, streaming it, supporting it, FLA, and yeah, we can't wait to have you back on the show, hopefully after your fight, to talk about your huge win.
That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, all right. We'll be talking, dude. All right. Thank you
hey,
to the viewers. You can subscribe. Spare Bedroom Studios, Solo Spotlight Episode 7 with Brandon Binder. Thank you very much, everybody.